What would you do if I told you that somewhere on Earth, there is a road where a single mistake means falling farther than the height of the Eiffel Tower? A road so dangerous that drivers roll down their windows not for fresh air, but to hear approaching vehicles before they see them. Sounds unbelievable, but that's only the first road, because somewhere else, a highway climbs through mountains so high that even breathing becomes difficult. Another crosses an ocean where waves regularly smash against the asphalt. One cuts through frozen wilderness where people can die from exposure in less than an hour. And one road was built on top of thousands of human graves. These roads were never supposed to exist. Nature said no. Geography said no. Common sense said no. Humanity built them anyway. 7 roads, 7 impossible journeys, and 7 stories that prove the most dangerous thing on Earth isn't nature, it's human determination. Our journey begins in the Andes Mountains of Bolivia, a place where the clouds don't float above the road, they float below it, and where one wrong turn can become your last. They call it Death Road. The first thing you notice isn't the height, it's the silence. Not complete silence, the kind of silence that exists when everyone inside a vehicle is afraid to speak. Imagine sitting in an old bus before sunrise. The windows rattle, the engine growls. Outside, fog covers everything. You can't see the valley. You can't see the cliffs. You can't even see the road ahead. And maybe that's a good thing, because if you could, you might never get back on the bus. North Yungas Road stretches between La Paz and the Amazon basin. On a map, it doesn't look terrifying. It's only around 64 kilometers long. But maps lie. Maps don't show fear. Maps don't show the thousands of meters of empty air beside your tires. Maps don't show waterfalls crashing directly onto the road. And they definitely don't show what happens when 2 vehicles meet on a section barely wide enough for one. For decades, this road was Bolivia's main connection between the mountains and the jungle. Every day, buses, trucks, and cars used it. Every day, people prayed before starting the journey. And every day, some of them never arrived. The road was carved directly into unstable mountain slopes. In some places, it was barely 3 meters wide. There were no guardrails, no barriers, nothing separating passengers from a drop so deep that rivers looked like silver threads far below. During the rainy season, everything became worse. Mud covered the surface, rockfalls blocked the route. Entire sections simply disappeared. Yet traffic continued, because there was no alternative. Imagine being a truck driver descending the mountain in heavy rain. Your cargo weighs several tons. Your brakes have already been working for hours. The fog is thick. Then suddenly you hear something. A horn. Another vehicle. Close. Very close. You round a corner and freeze. A bus. Coming directly toward you. Neither vehicle can pass. Neither driver can turn around. One of you must reverse. Slowly. Meter by meter. Along the edge of a cliff. One wrong movement, one slipping tire, and gravity wins. For decades, this wasn't a rare situation. It was daily life. Locals became experts at reading the road. They learned where landslides happened. They learned which corners were deadly. They learned when to trust their instincts instead of the weather. But experience wasn't always enough. Some years, hundreds of people died on Death Road. Others disappeared entirely. Vehicles plunged into canyons so deep that recovery became impossible. Families waited for news that never came. The mountain simply kept what it took. Roadside memorials multiplied. White crosses appeared everywhere. Every bend seemed to have a story. Every cliff had a name. Every driver knew someone who never returned. And yet, every morning engines started. The road demanded respect, but life demanded movement. Then, after decades of tragedy, a modern highway was finally built. Safer, wider, protected. Most traffic moved away. The era of Death Road was supposedly over. But something strange happened. The road refused to die. Today, thousands of tourists travel from around the world to ride bicycles down the same route. People willingly pay money to experience what generations of drivers feared. They stop beside cliffs for photographs, they laugh, they celebrate, and for a moment, they forget something important. The mountain hasn't changed. The fog hasn't changed. Gravity hasn't changed. Only the purpose of the road has changed. Death Road still waits, patiently, silently, exactly where it has always been. And if a road hanging above the clouds sounds impossible, wait until you see the next one. Because this road doesn't cling to a mountain, it climbs through mountains, so high that entire civilizations once believed gods lived there. A highway built through the roof of the world. A road many engineers believed should never have been attempted. The Karakoram Highway. Look at a map. Find Pakistan. Then follow the mountains north. Higher, higher, until the peaks begin to look unreal. This is the Karakoram Range, home to some of the highest mountains on Earth. K2, Nanga Parbat. Massive walls of rock and ice that kill experienced climbers every year. Most people struggle to survive here. Someone decided to build a highway through it. The idea sounded insane. The terrain was among the most hostile on the planet. The weather could change without warning. Landslides were constant. Avalanches were common. Earthquakes were inevitable. And yet, in 1959, construction began. Thousands of workers arrived. Pakistani engineers, Chinese engineers, laborers from remote villages, men who would spend years fighting mountains. The goal was simple: connect Pakistan and China. The reality was anything but simple. Imagine waking before sunrise inside a temporary camp. Cold wind cuts through your clothes. Above you rises a wall of stone thousands of meters high. Today, your job is to carve a road into that wall. Not with modern tunnel-boring machines, not with advanced technology, with explosives, steel tools, and human determination. Workers hung from ropes above cliffs. They blasted unstable rock. They drilled through mountainsides. Every meter was earned. Every kilometer came with a price. Sometimes the mountain fought back. Entire sections collapsed. Landslides buried equipment. Avalanches swept away camps. Rockfalls killed workers instantly. Official figures estimate more than 1,000 lives were lost during construction. Some estimates are even higher. Many workers never returned home. The mountain kept them. And still, construction continued, year after year, through storms, through snow, through disasters, until finally the impossible became reality. The Karakoram Highway opened. At over 4,600 meters above sea level in some sections, one of the highest international roads on Earth. Drivers today describe it as beautiful, and it is. Towering peaks, glaciers, blue rivers, endless valleys. The scenery looks almost supernatural, but beauty can be deceptive, because the danger never disappeared. Every year, landslides destroy sections of the road. Massive boulders crash onto the highway. Entire mountainsides collapse without warning. In 2010, a gigantic landslide blocked a river. A natural dam formed. Villages disappeared underwater. More than 20 kilometers of highway vanished beneath a new lake. Imagine driving through the Karakoram today. The road twists beside cliffs. Far below, a river crashes through the valley. Ahead, you see fresh rock scattered across the asphalt, evidence of a recent landslide. You continue driving, because everyone continues driving. Truck drivers, tourists, families, merchants. Life depends on this road, and life cannot wait for mountains. That may be the strangest thing about the Karakoram Highway. People don't think of it as impossible anymore. They think of it as normal. A road built through one of the most dangerous landscapes on Earth became ordinary. The mountains remain enormous. The danger remains real. Yet every day, engines start, doors close, and vehicles continue forward, as if challenging the mountains has become routine. But the next road takes us somewhere even more isolated, a place where mountains are replaced by endless wilderness, a place where temperatures can kill faster than hunger, a place where thousands died building a road that became known by a name nobody could forget: the Road of Bones. The next road takes us far away from mountains, far away from jungles, far away from civilization itself. A place where winter doesn't simply arrive, it takes control. A place where temperatures fall so low that exposed skin can freeze in minutes. A place where engines are left running overnight because if they stop, they may never start again. Eastern Siberia, Russia. Thousands of kilometers of frozen wilderness. No cities, no crowds, no noise. Only forests, snow, and a road stretching endlessly into the horizon. Today, it is officially called the Guoliang Highway, but almost nobody knows it by that name. The world remembers it differently. The Road of Bones. Imagine driving here in January. The sun barely rises above the horizon. The temperature is -50 degrees Celsius. Your breath freezes inside the vehicle. The windshield crackles from the cold. Outside, there is nothing. No villages, no gas stations, no help. Just endless white wilderness. And beneath the tires, something far more disturbing. Because this road wasn't simply built, it was paid for in human lives. The story begins in the 1930s. The Soviet Union wanted access to the gold fields of eastern Siberia. The region contained enormous mineral wealth, but reaching it was almost impossible. There were no roads, no railways, no infrastructure, only wilderness. Someone had to build a route through it. That someone became the prisoners of the Gulag system. Thousands of men were transported into Siberia, then tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands. Political prisoners, criminals, anyone the state considered disposable. Imagine being one of them. You arrive after weeks of transport. Your clothes are inadequate. Your boots are falling apart. The temperature is colder than anything you have ever experienced. The guard points toward a frozen valley. Your job is simple: build a road. The problem is that the ground itself is frozen solid. Digging through permafrost is like digging through concrete. Explosives help, but not enough. Most work is done by hand: shovels, pickaxes, human muscle, human suffering. Food is scarce. Medical care barely exists. Anyone too weak to work becomes a burden. And burdens do not survive long in places like this. The numbers remain debated. Some historians estimate tens of thousands died. Others estimate hundreds of thousands. No one knows for certain. Records disappeared. Documents were altered. Names were forgotten. But everyone agrees on one thing: the death toll was enormous. And then came the rumor. A rumor repeated for generations. When workers died, construction could not stop. The frozen ground was too hard to dig proper graves. So bodies were buried beneath the road itself, layer after layer, section after section. Human remains becoming part of the foundation. Official historians debate how often this happened, but the nickname survived. Road number 5, Volcano Road, Japan. The next road takes us to Japan, a country built on moving ground. Earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis. Few places on Earth are shaped more by nature's power. And right in the middle of that danger sits a road that should never have existed. Near Mount Aso, one of the largest active volcanoes in the world. Imagine driving through a peaceful valley. Green fields stretch to the horizon. Small villages sit beneath distant mountains. Everything looks calm. Then you notice something. Smoke. A thin gray column rising into the sky. The mountain is alive. Mount Aso has erupted many times throughout recorded history. Entire communities have been forced to evacuate. Roads have vanished beneath ash. Bridges have been damaged by earthquakes. Yet the highways remain, because people still live here. Every day, drivers pass beneath an active volcano, not because they want adventure, because they have no choice. In 2016, a powerful earthquake struck the region. Roads cracked apart, bridges collapsed. Landslides buried entire sections beneath tons of rock. For years, repairs continued. Eventually, traffic returned. The volcano remained. The earthquakes remained. The danger remained. And so did the road. Perhaps that is the strangest thing about Japan. Nature constantly reminds people who is in control. Yet every time disaster strikes, they rebuild. Again, and again, and again. But the next road may be even harder to believe, because it wasn't built through a mountain, it was built inside one. China, Henan Province. Hidden among steep mountains lies a tiny village called Guoliang. Today, tourists arrive here every year, but for centuries the village was almost completely isolated. The only way in or out was a narrow staircase carved into a cliff. More than 700 stone steps, straight through the mountain. Dangerous, exhausting, and sometimes deadly. The villagers wanted a road. The government refused. Engineers said it was impossible. The mountain walls were nearly vertical. The cost was enormous. The population was tiny. No one believed the project made sense. So the villagers made a decision. If nobody would build the road for them, they would build it themselves. In 1972, 13 villagers began work. No heavy machinery, no modern equipment, only hammers, steel tools, and determination. Imagine standing on a cliff hundreds of meters above the valley floor. One mistake means death. One loose rock means disaster. Yet day after day they chipped away at solid stone, meter by meter, year after year. The mountain slowly surrendered. After 5 years of work, the impossible became reality. The Guoliang Tunnel, more than 1 kilometer long, carved directly through a mountain, by hand. Windows cut into the cliff face allow sunlight to enter. Each opening reveals a terrifying drop into the valley below. Driving through the tunnel feels surreal. One side is solid rock. The other opens directly onto empty space. Tourists call it beautiful. Drivers call it unforgettable. Engineers call it unbelievable. Because even today it is difficult to understand how a handful of villagers achieved something that many experts considered impossible. The tunnel transformed the village. Isolation ended. Tourism arrived. Life changed forever. And yet every visitor leaves with the same question. How far can determination take human beings? Apparently, straight through a mountain. But the final road in our story is unlike anything we've seen so far. No volcanoes, no tunnels, no frozen wilderness, just endless desert. And a highway so isolated that running out of fuel can become a death sentence. Australia, the outback.